heard the one shot and then 4 after, and we just started running.
This was another heartbreaking day for students and parents in America.
I never looked back, and we just all kept running.
We just sprung into action, barricaded the door, lights off, back of class, huddled down.
There's all these kids running and just screaming and calling their parents.
She says, please come, and that was just killed me.
It was just scary because, you never think this is going to happen to you. And, you always see this stuff in, movies and other campuses on the news.
16 seconds was all it took to send chaos through a Santa Clarita high school as a student opened fire, sending kids running on campus with their hands in the air. Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Rochelle Murcia.
And I'm Dave Gonzalez. 2 students are dead and several others are hurt tonight after that school shooting.
The gunman is in a hospital after turning the gun on himself. Police say today is his 16th birthday. Allie Triolo is at the live desk with the very latest. Allie?
Dave, Rochelle, we've been following developments out of Saugus High School all day. Police say a 16-year-old boy shot 5 fellow students, but that number has been fluctuating throughout the afternoon. We want to show you some images from the scene there. You can see as students are lined up to get onto a bus. They were transported to a nearby park where their parents could pick them up. Now, the entire high school went on lockdown around 7:40 this morning after emergency calls were made, and now students are at home with their families, but the entire district will be shut down tomorrow. Police say a 16-year-old girl and a 14-year-old boy died at the hospital from their injuries. And again, other students are injured, but that number is fluctuating, and the names of those victims haven't been released. Police also say the name of that gunman will not be released because he is a minor. The LA County Sheriff's Office does say they have surveillance video clearly showing the gunman pulling a semi-automatic handgun out of his backpack into the quad and shooting his classmates before turning the gun on himself. Take a listen to what one student says it was like at her school today.
I was actually really surprised because I thought people would just panic and push people out of the way, but everybody was helping each other. They were helping each other stay calm. They were hugging each other. They were calling their loved ones. It was like everybody worked as a community to help each other, like these kids.
And a bit of a silver lining there from that one student. Now, we do know that a search warrant is being processed right now to get into the gunman's nearby home and search for any evidence. And we do have new revelations coming out from police talking about the gunman's Instagram bio that was written there. But while the shooting was happening, it said that Saugus High School, have fun at school tomorrow. But that has since been changed. Reporting from the live desk, Allie Triolo, Eyewitness News.
And for the latest updates on this shooting and other stories, you can visit our website. That's bakersfieldnow.com. You can also download our free app. That's Bakersfield Now on Google Play and the App Store.
Kern County Coroner's Office says that former McFarland City Manager John Wooner's death has been ruled an accident. Wooner's SUV was pulled from the Kern River in September. Investigators say he lost control of the car, sending him off the edge and rolling down a canyon. Initially, he was reported missing under suspicious circumstances. He was last seen alive in May at the Hillcrest Memorial Park in Bakersfield.
Some people in Kern County are being billed for power during the recent planned shutoffs. Customers in El Dorado County are expressing their anger on social media. PG&E says this should not be happening. Customers also noticed a message on their online account. It says usage data may temporarily reflect estimated, not actual usage.
Estimated, estimated, estimated. And then bam, our power's back on and we use the same amount of power. So I want to know why I'm getting billed. Why? I had no power.
PG&E has offered a $100 credit to customers that went more than 48 hours without power. Many say they have yet to see that credit applied.
If you were laid off your job because of the Ridgecrest earthquakes, help could be on the way for you. The state's Employment Development Department is giving more than $300,000 in emergency aid to Kern County and San Bernardino counties. The grant will fund job fairs, recruitment, and work training. The training programs will focus on jobs, including construction, retail, and business administration.
New research shows the Ridgecrest earthquakes ruptured at least 24 faults. It's the latest proof that small faults can join together to produce a larger earthquake. Researchers found the first quake was actually 3 earthquakes on a trio of faults. Together, they produced enough energy to create the 6.4 earthquake. The second large quake was actually made up of 4 smaller ones, producing a magnitude 7.1 quake. At least 20 smaller faults that intersected the main faults also ruptured during that second earthquake. Changes in our weather out there. Some clouds have rolled in. Let's turn things over now to Miles Musio. Look at our forecast. Hi, Miles.
Hi, Rochelle. Yeah, we do have the clouds, and you can see them coming in from the southwest. We have 2 different layers of clouds. You can see them moving in different directions there. And that's interesting. It's the beginning of a cooling trend, but no rain. Not from these clouds, at least. But there may be rain before this next week is out. 69 right now. That's down from a high of 75 today. Air quality is a little bit better in the moderate zone, and 60s to the north, 70s to the south end of the valley. Up the mountains, 50s now. We're beginning to cool off. 74 Lake Isabella, one of the warmer spots there. Same thing over in the Ridgecrest area. There's a cold front coming through right now. It's a pretty weak front, as mentioned, no precipitation with it. But the temperatures are going to begin to trend down. So 69 right now, and we won't get that warm tomorrow. We're going to see more clouds tomorrow, too. Winds have not been a big problem. There had been some gusty winds earlier in the Gorman area, but now not so much. Temperatures in the 60s this evening, down to 48 first thing in the morning, with a lot of clouds, especially tomorrow morning. Pile-up clouds south end of the valley and up in the mountains as well. 40s for the most part there, and the Kern River Valley will see 50s most of this evening. And we're going to drop it into the mid-40s for a low temperature come Friday morning. And then looks like a pretty nice afternoon tomorrow, but the clouds may linger a little while, but I can guarantee a pretty nice weekend. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. Dave and Rochelle, back to you.
All right, Miles. A migrant labor camp is being converted into temporary housing for 50 women. The emergency shelter will help women who need a safe space to stay for the winter. Starting Monday, they'll be brought to the camp at Weed Patch. It's normally empty from November through March, but this year the state approved funds to temporarily furnish the empty rooms. We'll take an in-depth look at the shelter in our 6 o'clock newscast.
The remains of Private Joseph Robert Livermore returned to Bakersfield today over 7.5 decades after going missing in the Pacific during World War II.
Tim Johns has been following this story since Livermore's remains were first identified several months ago. He's here with more for us. Tim?
That's right, Dave. Rochelle. Private Livermore was welcomed home with a procession throughout the streets of Bakersfield that includes stops at his childhood home as well as his former high school before finally stopping at what will become his final resting place, the historic Union Cemetery. It was a homecoming 76 years in the making. Thursday morning, the remains of Private Joseph Robert Livermore were finally returned home.
He is family. Now he feels part of our family.
Livermore was a Bakersfield native who died in hand-to-hand combat in the Pacific during World War II. His burial remained a mystery until a few months ago when his body was identified on the remote island of Tarawa.
The more that we learned about him, the more we wanted to learn about him.
Darrell Feliz is Livermore's nephew. He says his uncle's return has brought together not just his family, but also the entire Kern County community.
It's overwhelming how many people are involved and concerned enough. They came from all over the state.
It's a feeling that was exemplified by the hundreds who filled the streets along Livermore's childhood home, as well as his alma mater, East High.
As soon as we saw the story, I was like, you know what, I want to show my support.
We wanted to be here.
Yep. Those that serve need to be celebrated in life and in death.
Livermore will now be laid to rest alongside his mother at Union Cemetery nearly 8 decades after first going off to war. And as far as Feliz is concerned, it's a day he and his family will never forget.
This is something that has changed my life, to be honest with you.
Now, Livermore's actual funeral will take place tomorrow at 10 a.m. But for now, reporting in studio, Tim Johns, Eyewitness News.
All right, Tim, thanks for that. Still to come here on Eyewitness News, rocket attacks continue between the Palestinians and Israelis even after a ceasefire was declared.
And there are now 18 Democratic hopefuls looking to become president, the latest candidate to enter the race for 2020.
And hip-hop lyrics and SAT prep, how a new program is using both to help students learn.
And cold front coming through. This low is not going to give us any rain, and neither will this next one, but we will see a low with rain next week. Not guaranteed, but it's looking better. Full forecast.